Alright, so this is Brighton Beach Memoirs. So, sorry. Brighton Beach Memoirs takes place in Brooklyn, New York in 1937 during the Depression and focuses on the life of Eugene Jerome and his memoirs and observations of his family. So, Eugene Jerome is a 14-year-old boy who is obsessed with baseball and girls. As he is beginning his journey of puberty, Eugene loves writing about his family in his book of memoirs. Eugene realizes that his innocence is slipping away, and now he's about to begin a whole new life. And now there's Kate and Jack Jerome. These are Eugene's parents. They're very caring and generous. As Kate's sister, Blanche Morton, and her two kids live in their home with them because Blanche's husband passed away, so they were struggling for a bit. Kate and Jack begin to go through some conflicts as they struggle more and more with sustaining the family financially. So now, Stanley Jerome is Eugene's older brother. He is 18 years old and works full-time at the department store to help out his family. He has very high morals and principles and teaches Eugene about the new things he's about to go through as he's going through puberty right now. Stanley is very responsible and protective, but he's also very rebellious with the way he handles situations and money, as he swept dirt over his boss's shoes because he was disrespecting another employee, and then also with money because he tried to win the family more money, but ended up gambling his entire salary for the week away. But he is very loyal to his family and is very mature, even though he's still very young and learning. Now, Blanche, Nora, and Laurie Morton. Blanche is Eugene's aunt, and then Nora and Laurie are Eugene's cousins. Laurie has a heart condition, and Nora got an audition for Broadway that her family doesn't support because they want her to finish school and they don't think it's a real job. Eugene thinks that Nora is very beautiful and is in love with her, which is gross. Okay, so now we got themes. So, number one, family. This family is struggling financially as they live through the Great Depression. In addition to causing conflicts, this shows their love for one another. Eugene enjoys seeing the dynamics of his family, including his brother, his aunt, and his cousins, and his overworked mom and dad. Since so many of them share one house, there's so many disagreements that happen, especially with money and parenting, because sometimes they just don't agree on certain ways they're parenting, and obviously money is a huge disagreement point. This family is still together and united, even though they disagree all the time. This play shows that although every family faces challenges, they will always be there for one another through the difficult times. And secondly, there's coming of age. So Eugene is preoccupied with baseball and girls at the start of the play, but by the end he has a better understanding of his responsibilities, his family, and himself. Eugene is a young and innocent teenage boy who is just beginning puberty, and he starts learning about a whole different universe. He becomes aware of a lot more grown-up issues and begins to view his parents as members of his family rather than only superiors. He starts to perceive everyone more simply than just a parent or an aunt or just a family member. He realizes that they're all complicated real people and they all have as deep thoughts as he does. Additionally, he first aspires to play baseball for the Yankees, which he still does want to do by the end of it, but then he realizes how much more he loves to write and developing a better idea of his goals, which shows that he's growing up. Now we have our literary lenses. Firstly, there's only the psychological lens. This lens shows how the character's mental and emotional growth is influenced by pressure, identity, and family expectations. Stanley is going through a big internal conflict between his obligations to provide for his family financially, as they're all kind of suffering right now, and his desire for independence. When he states, "Suppose I don't want to work in a factory all my life, suppose I want to be something different," This quote shows that Stanley's dreams have been pushed away because of the fear of being trapped in the life that he doesn't want. He feels very torn between obligation and self fulfillment, which leads to moments of lots and lots of guilt. Similarly, Eugene is obviously supporting Stanley's dreams when he says, "If you never get out of Brighton Beach, you grow up afraid. You grow up afraid of the world." These two quotes were from a conversation when Stanley wanted to run away and join the army, which he did for about a week, and then he came back. But this shows that Eugene has also dreamt of getting away and grow beyond where he is now. And he doesn't want to be restricted by family and his environment. And he doesn't want Stanley to be restricted either. He wants Stanley and himself to find a place in the world they both fit into, which just shows the self-discovery aspect of this play. Even the family's dynamics play a role in influencing the mental states of these characters. Stanley always feels the weight of being a role model for Eugene and Kate, which puts a ton of pressure on the men of the house to keep it all together. So now we have our elements. So firstly, conflict. Brighton Beach Memoirs is full of conflicts, obviously. The main internal conflict was Eugene's struggle to grow up and find his identity, especially with his home life and the tension, the poverty, and all the high expectations he has upon himself. As he states, "I hate my name, Eugene Morris Jerome. How am I ever going to play shortstop for the Yankees with a name like that?" This quote shows that Eugene struggles with insecurity and self-image. There's also many other conflicts, like whether Stanley will quit his job, or if Nora wants to go to Broadway and go to that audition. But this causes split between survival for his family and dignity. Secondly, we have the setting. So the setting, it shapes every part of the story and each of the characters' lives. As they're all crammed into one roof, one small household, the financial pressure and also the Jewish immigrant culture at the time feeds into decisions and relationships between each other. As Jack stated, if the war breaks out in Europe, they'll close the shops. That's when things will really get tough. This quote shows how setting and the outside world factors into their daily lives. There's lots of tension in the setting, and it adds a lot of burden on the family. And lastly, we have motifs. So one key motif in the play was dreaming and escaping. So these were the recurring ideas and desires that each of the characters had, even if it was tough or it seemed out of reach. Just as Eugene dreamed to become a writer and play baseball, Stanley dreamt of doing anything other than factory work. Nora wanted to go to Broadway, and Aunt Blanche, she wanted to get out of the house, out of Jack and Kate's house, and find her own home for her kids. And they all had hope in their hearts to do more and be more than what they were doing right now and where they're at in life at the time. And finally, I have my text connections. So, firstly, just like Eugene, we have him relating to Hamlet in the text-to-text connections. So, Hamlet also struggles with a lot of internal conflicts, just as his famous line, "To be or not to be, that is the question," which shows his deep internal conflicts about life, death, and purpose. Just like Eugene said, "Why is it that every time I start to enjoy myself, I feel guilty?" Which shows that both characters just really overthink about their actions and question themselves constantly. Hamlet and Eugene both encounter a lot of family pressure, as Hamlet is trying to cope with everything that's happening so fast, while he's also maintaining the expectations of his father and Eugene from the need to grow up fast in a crowded and chaotic home. These characters become shaped by their family dynamics. Hamlet is also a coming-of-age story as he's forced into adulthood by the events he shouldn't be getting forced into adulthood because he's in his 30s when he's during the play, but the trauma and everything that happens in his life kind of just shoves him right into the world, and it just because well, he was coddled as a kid. He was obviously the Prince of Denmark, and it just throws him right into the world, just like ripping off a band-aid. As Eugene is forced to grow up because of his environment, he shares a lot of similarities with Hamlet. And finally, we have a text to world connection. So, one that I found was obviously financial struggle. Due to the past 5 years, COVID 19 has impacted many lives and many families. And now a lot of families face conflicts like job insecurities, house struggles, and pressure on teens to help out financially. According to a research study I found, it was Pew Research. It said that more young adults in the U.S. live with their parents now than any time before since the Great Depression, which just goes to show how bad it is. Yeah, thanks for listening. Uh-oh.